All right, so let's have a look at a more advanced way, a still basic and quick way to edit these images, but slightly more advanced, and it's going to give you a much more realistic edit for an image like this. So the first thing I'm going to do is duplicate my background layer. So the way I can do that is the shortcut is Command J, and that gives you a new layer there. So I've got a copy of my background, exactly the same image. And what I'm going to do is come down to Filter, Other, High Pass. All right, so what you want to do is, you know that you've gone too far with the number of pixels if you've got this ghosting happening. But what you want to do is just slide this radius slider across till you're just getting the fine details. Okay, so I'm just seeing the fine details under the eyes, the fine details in the forehead, and also around the eyes and all the little details there. You don't want to have ghosting, so usually it depends on the size of your file, but around 5 pixels looks good. So we're just seeing all the fine details. When you've done that, hit OK, and then we're going to change the blend mode to overlay. All right, so basically what I've done is I've taken my base image, I've duplicated it, and I've applied a sharpening filter to that. Now, don't worry about why we're doing this. It's just a way to be able to edit and, through the magic of Photoshop, maintain the texture in the image. Now, the next step we're going to do is you're going to select the background layer, and we're going to add a new empty layer. Okay, so now I've got an empty layer between my background layer and this new layer that's been sharpened. Okay, follow along. What we're going to do is click on this top layer, and I'm going to hold down the Option key on a Mac, Alt on a Windows, and you can see how I've got this little hand icon. When I hold down the Option key on a Mac, or if you're using Windows, it's the Alt key, you can see that that hand changes from a hand to an arrow that points down. So what you want to do is hover between the two layers so that you're just over the line, hold down the Option on a Mac, Alt on a Windows, and that hand changes from a hand to a box with an arrow pointing down. Click on that. All right, so now what we're telling Photoshop is this layer needs to be applied to this layer. So basically, if you look at the image now, you no longer see the sharpening of that layer. So can you see the difference? So before, this was looking super sharp. Now that I've applied this layer to this layer, you can see that it's blended in. So what that means is now when we retouch onto this layer, anything we do is going to, with the magic of Photoshop, we're going to keep the texture, but we're going to be able to remove some of those layers there, and it's going to give you a much more realistic approach. So don't worry about understanding why this is all going on. I kind of don't understand why it happens. Just know that this works, and just follow those steps. So we're now selecting this middle empty layer. I'm going to select the clone stamp. I'm going to make sure that my brush is set to 0 hardness. Blend mode is lighten, opacity is 100%, and keep your flow around 10%. All right, and what we're going to do again is select, so we're grafting nice skin from the cheek, and we're going to graft it over the eyes, under the eyes here. So what we're going to do is we're going to be able to remove the color and also retain the texture. So I'm hovering over this area here. I'm holding down the Option key on a Mac, Alt on a Windows, and I'm clicking that area there. And now what I'm telling Photoshop is this is the area of skin that I want to graft over this area, and now I'm brushing over this area here. So what you can see is this is slightly different to the technique that I showed you earlier, because when we're grafting the area, we're still retaining all the beautiful texture under the eyes. And you can see that if you notice, it looks like I've gone a little bit too far, but we can fix that later. But what you can see is it's removing the color, but it retains the texture. So this is a really great way to maintain the texture under the eyes, but it just reduces the color of that discoloration, or those bags under the eyes. So like if we have a look at before and after, it's magic. It's such a beautiful and easy way to remove under eye bags. So there is actually an entire tutorial that takes you through this as well in great detail there in the Gold community, but this is just a great way to see this in action. So I think this is such a good way to edit your images. All right, so, and then you can use that and apply it to other areas. So there's a bit of red discoloration here. I can apply it to these areas, and it will also minimize those lines there. So we're just reducing them, getting rid of the discoloration, any little red blotches. So we're reducing the lines, but they're still there. They're not reducing 100%. So this technique keeps the texture of the skin, but it's also once you get the hang of it, it's a really quick and easy way to edit a skin tone, but also make it look like you haven't actually edited the skin tone at all. So you can apply it to all the areas of the skin. So that probably, if I wasn't talking, didn't take very much time at all. So there it is there, the full impact. And you might think, well, that's gone too far. So the other great thing that I like to do using this technique is then take these two new layers, and again, I'm going to group them. So right click and group from layers, and we'll name this edit. Hit OK. All right, so now I've got the two layers that are the edit layers now grouped into their own layer. And what I'm going to do is add a layer mask. I'm going to invert the layer mask so that hides everything that I've just done in Photoshop. I've put a layer mask there, I've inverted it, and now everything is hidden. If I want to reveal the edit that I have just created, I paint with white. Everywhere that I paint with white will reveal what's in this folder. So now if I get my brush, make sure that it's a nice soft brush, zero hardness, blend mode is normal, opacity 100%. I'm going to bring my flow down to 10%. Now, I can now just brush with white, and you can see that it reveals that edit. So now I can come back and just edit that a little bit more conservatively, and I can come in under the eyes and maybe just do it a little bit, not to the full force of that edit. And now I've got a far more conservative edit there. And it's a very, very simple technique. Now, if you haven't worked with layer masks before, just check out the tutorials on working with layer masks, and that'll explain exactly what's going on when we're creating these layer masks, and that's all going to make a lot more sense. But I think this is a great way to edit your images and create an image that still looks very natural. We've got his lines are still there, but we've just managed to get rid of that discoloration, and we've just kind of filled in those lines a little bit, but also we haven't taken away his character. as well, and I think that's really important in a headshot. So you just want to make them look a little bit fresher, a little bit better in the skin tone. You want to make sure that the skin tone is nice and even. There's no real sort of blotches, but it doesn't look like at first glance that this image has been edited at all, but it has been. We've just removed about 50% of the detail there, and that takes that image to the